I love how he looks like a lion. A fierce counterattack. A fierce lion. Right, kind of goes back to that imagery of the lion and the sun.
また賢者の石を作ろうとしていた。破壊しかもたらさぬ存在を神と呼べるのか。完全な存在になったつもりだろうが、どん詰まりなんだよお前は。
Ooh, I don't know.
そうかね。ならば人間を生もう。
Oh. Oh, this is cursed. Oh my god. Yeah, that's him, isn't it? The head honcho from Xerxes. This is dark. No. He's running riot.
戦えねえ奴は置いてけ。
バカを言うな。私が太陽指揮戦で誰がする。
知ったことか。さっさと降りろ。
作戦本部。私だ。
Yeah, do tell, do tell. I mean,
閣下、中央司令部が半分吹っ飛びました。それが奴の力だ。
and I know that.
一体そいつは。見た目は普通の人間だ。ただし。うん十万人分の賢者の石を体内に持っていて、錬金術師ならこのヤバさがわかるだろう。賢者の石。普通の人間はここで降りな。
なんだ。
ご心配なく閣下。我々ブリック勢はボスが不在でもひるまず動くことができる軍隊だということをお忘れですか。聞けば怪我をしているそうではありませんか。どうぞそこで見守っていてください。
アレックス。
はい。
通信機を持っていけ。必ず勝て。
I love that.
行くぞ注意。おいおい、二人とも怪我人だろうが。奴の賢者の石を私が焼き尽くす。
It'll be.
そのために
That
は
guy's
父
still
親
there.
の助けが必要だ。
私の仕事は和歌をお守りすることだ。
Oh, I like this. It's all kind of centered around greed or greeling at this point.
泉よ、みんなを頼む。
Now, of course, everyone gets to tap into that alchemy, right? Unfiltered. It's tough for her, for sure, right? To hang back.
こんなところで死んだか。貴様が倒したのか。
ここに来た時、すでに満身創痍だった。そうでなければ俺も危なかった。
どうだブラッドレー。私の部下は強かったろう。
My man was strong.
無事だったのね。よかった。
Oh god.
よ
Oh.
かった。生きてた。アルフォンス様。
Yeah.
先生、先生。生きてるよ。ホエンハイムさんがギリギリ守ってくれた。
No, 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 no.
ホエンハイム。
Ah. Again, it's going to need something special. Oh my god. Normal humans are going to play their part as well. It almost kind of feels like that moment before Cell becomes perfect Cell, right? It's like keep hitting him, but Oh, so is Hawkeye going to help him guide? Oh my god.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah, I was just gonna say iconic shot.
当たったか。
わずかにそれました。12時の方向に修正。
Oh.
目が見えんから火加減がわからん。
加減する必要はありません。
And this is the reason their understanding for each other is so important and special.
攻撃きます。
ほう、こいつは便利だな。剣だ飯を使わせ続けろ。
Oh my god. Combined effort. And even that might not be enough. It's still going to require something quite special, I think. Go on then, show me Greeling.
すげえ。あの力がありゃ、世界は全部俺のものにできるぜ。
おいグリード、貴様の言ってた世界を手に入れるってのはこういうことだったのか。
おうよ、あれを手に入れれば世の中は全部
insatiable.
俺のものだ。俺の中の空っぽがこれで埋まるかもしれねえ。
浅ましいなグリード。お前が欲しいものはそれじゃないはずだ。
Again, that incredible selection of music for different moments.
人間ごときは私に指一本触れることはできん。
人間がダメなら。
Yeah, how about it? Homunculus. Careful now.
いいところへ来たなグリード。親孝行な
Oh
息子
no,
よ
no, 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 no,
ち
no,
ょ
no.
うど賢者の石が欲しかったところだ。
Could this be something? It is similar to Hohenheim's.
さなきゃ賢者の石は奪えないよな。
Ah.
自分が神の力とやらを奪われるとは思わなかったのか。
Oh my god. Oh no. That means
奴の限界だ。あいつはもう神とやらを抑え込んでいられない。
oh, whoa. Oh. Oh man, right through the bicep. Oh, the animation.
兄さんを兄さんを兄さんをちょっと。兄さんは右腕を犠牲にして僕の魂を戻してくれた。
Oh.
だったら逆も可能なはず。アルフォンス様、こんなこと頼めるのは君しかいない。
Look at him, man. He's like an addict.
エネルギーエドワードよこせ。
何をする気だ。やめろ。おい。あら。
勝てよ、兄さん。
Oh man.
もういいのかい。うん。あとは兄さんを信じる。
Oh, oh no. So,
絶対に
go on then. Return. Return.
何を犠牲にするか楽しみだ
Yeah, it's going to need something special. But now, ugh. Oh god. Oh, the animation. Whoa.
いけるいけるぞいけこのいけいけエドワードエロリックか
Oh my god.
お前が欲してやまなかったもの本当はこれだ
エドワード鋼の
ああそうだこいつらみたいな仲間だったんだな
I mean, you had him for a time as well. Oh my god, look at this. Good old hand to hand.
待てよドサンニャ俺たちとお前の格の違いってやつを見せてやら
It's gonna end. Okay, so yeah, another incredible, another phenomenal episode. Easily one of the best of the series. Hell, that's probably in my top 5, perhaps even top 3. I mean, it's a contender for the best episode of the series. And I still have 2 of them to go, right? So yeah, I might still get something quite incredible. Something that could top some of these contenders for the best episode of the series. So yeah, I mean, it's so bittersweet. Really, it's really hitting me hard at the moment that I've just got the 2 episodes left. Yeah, and of course, that incredible moment. It's one of the greatest moments of the series, of the anime, of this story. Alphonse's big sacrifice. That big moment as he realizes, under pressure as well, of course, that perhaps he could reverse the things his own brother put into motion all that time ago, right? Giving up his arm in order to retrieve his soul and, again, bond it to the suit of armor. I mean, it really hurt, to see that suit of armor kind of disappear, right? To disintegrate in that manner. It really hits you at that moment. It really drives it home at that point, man. It is truly the conclusion of the series now, because the next potential meeting, and of course, much like how I expect it to happen, you see Alphonse so sure. He's so sure of it that yes, his brother is going to come back, right? Of course he's going to come back. And I've got 2 episodes to find out how exactly that part of the storyline is going to conclude, because it appears that the whole Dwarf in the Flask saga and the final conflict is on its final legs, perhaps. You see, it kind of ends up being this hand-to-hand combat scenario as Ed just lashes out. He's just full on. I think he's trying to take him out at that point, right? His rage, his fury. I mean, it is something else, isn't it? I mean, he even calls him third rate, much like earlier in the series, much earlier in the opening stages, right? Opening few episodes in Lior, he calls Carnello a third rate as well. And, there's a lot of similarities there, because that was another individual. I mean, yeah, there's a bit of a difference, of course, don't get me wrong, but that individual was also claiming to have the capacity of God, right? Or channeling God. So yeah, it was a great callback as well. But yeah, Ed is just laying it out, right? There's no alchemy at this point. It was all just hand-to-hand combat. I mean, there is at first, as he lashes out, as he breaks free, you know, the thing is, that arm has been gone for a long time, so surely it's not as easy as just, okay, it comes back and he's just immediately used to it, right? Of course, his left arm is going to be much more developed than his right arm, and that left arm is not in the best shape at the moment, right? But still, somehow, he pulls it out just through adrenaline or pure rage at that point, right? And he puts a beating on him. He puts a beating on the dwarf in the flask. That being said, 2 episodes left. And the fact that it kind of ends off on a cliffhanger, I'm sure he might have at least one more trick up his sleeve. The dwarf in the flask, that is. There's still a lot of important figures around. So let's see. I don't think I don't think it's going to be as simple as just kind of continuing on to the next episode and it'll just be the conclusion of Ed just actually defeating him altogether. I think there is going to be something else, that it is going to escalate to something else, because then, you know, it's not really the most effective ending to this episode either. If it just kind of continues and just finishes off in that manner. But yeah, that moment is, every single person is just backing him at the moment, yelling, shouting, just cheering him on, all of them, right? Including his own father, Hohenheim, of course. Mustang, even the blind Mustang gets in on it. The Chimera, every single person there. And of course, the soldiers. I'm so happy that they're playing such a crucial part in this final conflict, right? They make a difference. You know, the first guy who takes a headshot against Father, or the dwarf as he's taking out, or in the beginning stages of taking out Izumi Sensei and Ed. That is so crucial, right? At one point, it's just the soldiers. They're full on assault, right? Of course, ultimately it wasn't enough, but still, I love that there's a focus on them. But you see that these soldiers, and these specific soldiers being the ones from Briggs, are inspired and empowered by their leader, right? Olivier Armstrong, who had to take a back seat for this one, right? But ultimately, of course, it's all in the right hands. I mean, also there's a big moment here for Olivier, isn't there? Because she kind of hangs back, or has to hang back, but she also learns to lean on others, and in hopes that they do the right thing in her presence. Or not hopes, you know, trust that they'll do the right thing in her presence, and they definitely do, right? They're ready for this. As the one guy reminds her, you know, they've been trained for this, and they've been trained to function even if she's not around, or if she's not capable of being around. So yeah, it certainly plays out in that manner. It's a great moment. Though of course I love that Armstrong sibling moment as well, right? I mean, first of all, of course, you know, Alex, no chance in hell he's going to step out of this fight, right? That's part of his whole character arc. So, I mean, he wasn't hurt anyways, but still, you know, no chance he was going to hang back or anything. But I love how she kind of passes the torch to him in a sense, doesn't she? Love that moment, love that bonding moment. And then, of course, a bit later in the episode, there's quite the impactful moment of her coming across King Bradley's body, right? And she has this moment to reflect on the nature of Buccaneer's sacrifice as well. And she's so proud in that moment, right? That he played such a crucial role in ultimately defeating, or playing a hand in defeating, this formidable opponent. You have Scar here, who is not trying to take credit for this or anything. You know, he's not that type of person anyways, but he was so open about it. He said, if he wasn't injured prior to our encounter, you know, I was a goner. He was a goner anyways, I think, from the looks of it, until, again, you know, that moment in the last episode. Split second, the flash, right? Something from the cosmos playing a part. But also, let's not forget Fu. I know the focus isn't on Fu at that moment, and it's more so on Buccaneer. But Fu's sacrifice is incredible as well, right? And of course, I spoke of this a few episodes ago, so I don't want to get back into that aspect of it again. But yeah, you know, speaking of, you know, these people from so many different backgrounds, you know, I'm mentioning Buccaneer from Briggs. I'm mentioning Fu from Jing. You know, one of the standout moments of not just this episode, but one of the greatest moments of the series altogether happened in this episode, I think. One of the most impactful and important moments of the series. It is that full-on assault. Even if it doesn't take Father out or the dwarf out, but symbolically, it was just so important to see that, to have that. I just love that moment so much. You've got the Chimera attacking. You've got people like Lan Fan and Mei Chang from Jing attacking. You've got these soldiers. You know, the human component of it all. I mean, all of them are human essentially, but by human, I mean just plain old humans, you know, no alchemy, no special training, other than the training maybe a soldier gets. Again, I feel that it was so important to have that element be present, right? The soldiers playing a crucial role. Then you've got state alchemists playing their part as well, right? Everyone is playing their part. And I think that just kind of encapsulates the grand nature of this story, the bonds that have been created over the span of this incredible story, right? And, you know, once again, later on, as I kind of mentioned earlier, everyone is cheering on Ed. All of those incredible bonds and relationships I've been mentioning throughout the series in my discussions, you see it all come together in that moment at the end. And I think it's just beautiful to see it happen. And you see that it's really quite impactful for Greeling as well. Or in this specific case, Greed. Because within Greed, you have Ling. Who knows exactly. And he understands exactly the thing Greed needs or wanted, right? Or longed for. And the thing is, he got it. He got it in his last iteration as well. He had that found family of friends that cared for him, that he cared for as well. He forged those bonds, right? He had people that admired him, that cheered for him, that respected him. He had all of that. And then once again, this Greed also admits to that, right? This is the thing I've always wanted, right? And the thing is, beyond him admitting that, it's a major revelation for the character of the dwarf in the flask as well. Because at the end of the day, this is his greed. This is his feeling on the matter. These are his emotions, right? But ultimately, the dwarf's pride could not allow him to admit such a thing, right? But the thing is, if this greed is able to admit to it, right? And it feels like in every single iteration, it kind of comes to the same conclusion. It means that the dwarf in the flask was capable of this, or he did have the capacity for this. But again, pride did not allow him, right, to pursue this perhaps, or admit to this, or he goes about it in a bit of an artificial manner. Again, you know, as Hohenheim grills him about it episodes ago at this point, he does kind of create a family because he extracted these sins and then he had them call him father, right? But again, there's this artificial element to that. He kind of forced it. He tried to create it rather than build towards that special bond. And you know, the thing is, Hohenheim actually understands this about the dwarf in the flask, right? And he understands that this disapproval of humans and humanity is just, it's just so perplexing. And earlier he is kind of grilling him about the whole concept of even the stone itself being made up of humans. You know, it's possible because of humans. The whole concept of the Philosopher's Stone. And then later you see how dependent he is on that element, right? The Philosopher's Stone, but at the end of the day, it's made up of humans. So, you know, I thought that was really interesting there. And you see that he's kind of like this zombie almost, like an addict, that he cannot function without that anymore. You know, I thought it was interesting because he almost kind of appears to be really similar in that sense to some of those, the doll soldiers, right? In that state, the zombie-like state of his. And then he kind of locks onto Ed in that moment. And then, yeah, you know, Al couldn't have that. You know, part of me has been kind of thinking about other, you know, possibilities in that moment. May not have attacked Father, perhaps. But, you know, you also have to think about Al's broken armor. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a crack really close to his seal as well. So, you know, even the armor itself is on its last legs. So something of that magnitude still kind of had to be done anyways, I think. because, you know, if that seal's gone, he's gone for good as well. But, you know, I'm not saying that he's thinking about that. I don't think he was thinking about that at all. That's for us, the audience, to kind of, you know, look into. And it becomes clear that he's about to actually do this. Whew. As you saw, it hit me so hard. Perhaps that might be the thing that hit me the most in this anime. Right? It just brought on this sense of incredible sadness inside of me. I mean, I simply could not speak in that moment. I don't think I did speak in that moment at all. I was stunned. I was kind of heartbroken, you know, incredibly sad. Yeah, shit. As you can, maybe you can hear it in my voice, but I'm getting really sad just thinking about it again. My goodness, like I've said on a few occasions, man, Al, he's just the sweetest. He deserves everything and then some. Al is just, this kid is incredible, isn't he? You know, there's that moment as he's got his arms out to make sure Mei Chang is kind of protected from that blast, right? I mean, it still knocks everyone out. But then also, you know, there's that moment as it pans up from Ed and Izumi Sensei, and you see Hohenheim. He took it. I think he took most of that blast, right? And you see, oh my goodness, man. The moment I saw his face and I saw those markings, I know those markings. I've seen it on the face of King Bradley recently as well. His Philosopher's Stone must be so depleted at this point. And even before that moment, right? He's been using it quite a bit, but that really took it out of him. See, I saw that and then I knew, you know, see, there's so many moments in this that are really, really driving home the fact that, yeah, this is it, man. Prepare yourself. You're about to have some really heartbreaking moments, perhaps. One of them happened here, right? Al's incredible sacrifice. And yeah, of course, it absolutely broke me. But then to see Hohenheim, see, all you really needed to show the audience was the markings on the face. But yeah, even though it is incredibly sad, you know, I've maintained that he is going to get a chance to perhaps move on from this cursed immortality of his, right? It just feels like a fitting conclusion to his own arc, right? That he should get that release and to rejoin the love of his life, Trisha. Oh God, oh, I'm getting choked up, man. I'm really getting choked up thinking about this conclusion, right? Thinking about Al, thinking about Hohenheim. You really see the different elements of Hohenheim present within Al, much like how you see a lot of different elements of Hohenheim present in Ed as well. And, you know, earlier I mentioned that I do expect the situation to escalate at least once more, perhaps, and then maybe the dwarf in the flask might have one more trick up his sleeve, perhaps. Yeah, you know, I can see Hohenheim coming into play again, maybe in these final moments. Hell, maybe Hohenheim can even come into play in terms of the whole, you know, getting their bodies back situation, right? Listen, these are his boys at the end of the day. If he's still capable, yes, he's on his last legs from the looks of it, but if he's still capable, I'm sure he'll have some idea. You know, I'm sure he'll even try to put himself up somehow. He'll have no hesitation to put himself up if the possibility is there. And I think that element of Hohenheim is going to be present in Ed as well. Ed is going to be open to doing anything. He's going to be open to giving up anything, I think, to bring Al back. Other than maybe one thing, right? The one thing that they've established that both Elric brothers are kind of completely against is the Philosopher's Stone, right? That was one of the most impactful story arcs in this anime. Earlier on in this anime, but, you know, them kind of realizing the true nature of the Philosopher's Stone and the ethics of using such a thing, right? And then since then, they've taken this hardline approach. No, not going to happen. They're not going to use it. And you see the truth is really quite excited about the prospect of Al's offering, because it has to be quite the offering to bring his entire body back, to bring his brother back at this point, because he's sitting there at the gate, right? That is it. And next time they potentially see each other, he's going to see his brother in his human form once again, as one, as just a whole, right? Rather than 2 or 3 separate entities or separate components of his brother. So that is probably going to break me if I see that scene, and, you know, they've set it up quite nicely and effectively, right? The promises that they've made. And I really enjoyed the focus on greed in this episode. You know, first of all, down below, he's really calling the shots, right? He's really kind of getting everything together, asking all the injured to step aside, right? And kind of imploring them to understand the situation at hand. This being, this homunculus, has obtained the power of something they believe to be God, Kami, right? So he implores them to really, think about this. Also, there's another incredible moment in this episode. Hawkeye and Mustang making that entrance as a unit. My goodness, that's so incredible. It's an iconic moment, isn't it? Yeah, it makes so much sense that they're able to execute that, isn't it? They've set up so effectively just how compatible they are, the amount of chemistry that they have and understanding that they have for each other. So much so that at one point I even joked about it being on a psychic level, right? That's how in tune they are, be it through body language, be it through eye contact. But it's just so fitting that she's playing the role of his eyes in this setup, in this situation, right? And they're a formidable duo. They really are. It's the dream team. It's always been the dream team. They're just perfect for each other and around each other. They really are, truly. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one, folks. It's set up nicely for the penultimate episode of the series. Listen, if I had the time, I probably would have recorded the next episode right now. But also, I don't want to rush through it. Let's savor it. I've just got the 2 episodes, but yeah, it's getting there, man. It's a sad moment. It is, but I'll celebrate it. I'll celebrate it in these next 2 episodes. I'm sure I'll have a lot to say in the finale discussion as well. A wrap up for the series that I've enjoyed so much, thoroughly enjoyed. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you're interested in early access, and by the time this is on YouTube, early access to the rest of the series, to the conclusion of the series, and of course timer-based full length. If you're interested, the links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media. You can support the channel just by following me on Twitter. That helps, right? It kind of helps a content creator expand their reach. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and I do hope to see you again soon for episode 63. It had to happen at some point, right? But until then, take it easy.